Hello everyone, it's Infinity Gamer here, and I'm going to explain why Climbing Plus is so much worse than I originally thought. So I recently popped up a little video, which you can see up there, that talked about how Climbing Plus had potentially and effectively been hit with the nerf back massively from M4 to M5. And no more was this so than when you look at it in the context of fireteams and how, with the rules restructuring as it has done, aligning more with how Super Jump works, actually having a Climbing Plus unit within a fire team is pretty tricky to manage, and it means that you're not maybe able to maximize that fire team's movement at quite the same level as you were able to in N4. A couple of people jumped in the comments and made some really good points that I'd actually missed the first time reading the rule. One of the big points there is that Climbing Plus is actually a lot slower than it ever used to be. And what do I mean by that? You may know that Climbing Plus has been upgraded effectively to give movement of 6 inches to units that only have a 4-inch skill. Obviously, in my previous video, I explained that some units have actually been nerfed because of this, because they had an 8-inch move and now they've gone down to 6. But it's actually how the rule changes from climb not being a move to climb being a climb. That means that you've actually potentially got to spend 2 to 3 orders to achieve what you want to do with a Climbing Plus unit. So let's take out of the context of the fire team a unit with Climbing Plus. So this is just an individual Climbing Plus unit moving on its own. What you have are several basic short skills, which I've got listed up there. The key one there is movement, which is a standard effectively on a horizontal surface. You can move from point A to point B. When you choose to climb, when you have Climbing Plus or whether you don't have Climbing Plus, that doesn't change your movement to a move skill. It's a new type of skill. And what this means is that if you were to move into contact with a building, as you're seeing in the demo here, and then decide that you wanted to climb up it, you effectively have to spend a new order or declare a new skill to do that. Now, depending on when you're doing that, depends on whether you're going to be spending a new order or just declaring a new skill. So effectively what you could be doing with a unit with Climbing Plus is spending the first basic short skill, or the first short skill of your order, to move to the foot of the building. You then effectively stop. Then, when you go to climb the vertical surface, you're declaring a climb, but made into a Climbing Plus, which means it only takes a short skill and not a long skill. And then you can mount the vertical surface. The downside there is that magical 6 inches might not actually mean a lot to you, because if the building is only 3 inches, when you actually get to the top of that building, or effectively you'll actually be stopping at the top potentially, judging by some of the comments, is that you then have no more movement to do. So you would only use 3 inches of that movement skill. And then you're back on a horizontal surface, which you're not climbing, you are moving along, which actually requires another skill to be spent. So in the example I gave in my video, which I'm showing here, where I was like, fantastic, you can just, the rest of your fire team can sit at the bottom, twiddle their thumbs, and this guy can go off. I was actually really wrong, because what should have happened is that the unit moves up to the base of that building, stops, then uses the second short skill to climb up the vertical surface of that building, then stops, and then I have to spend a whole new order to move everyone on a horizontal surface to get my guy into base to base contact. In my mind, that is super clunky. And I don't like it at all, because Climbing Plus units in my mind are supposed to be really fast, really good at climbing, moving over surfaces better than anyone else would. And there is the argument that by not having to spend a long skill to climb and you're only having to spend a short skill, that is better. And I think we've been maybe spoiled with M4, where Climbing Plus effectively treated climbing on a vertical surface the same as if it were a horizontal surface, both in terms of the distances you can move, in terms of what other people could do with the same skill, because it basically turned it into a move order. The fact that not only now has it got all of those problems that I listed in my first video, but now it's a different type of skill. And so you can't just blend a movement into a climb. You have to end your horizontal surface movement, then go into your vertical surface movement. Once that's finished, going back into a horizontal surface movement is then another skill. Again, actually is, I think, quite terrible. I've had a couple of comments come into my videos that say they're just playing it as the M4 rules because it doesn't make sense that N5 hit Climbing Plus so badly, especially as it's actually fairly well available in a lot of fire teams and across a lot of units, and maybe more so than something like Super Jump. I'm really keen as to what Corvus Belli were thinking in doing this to Climbing Plus. Was it that Climbing Plus was too powerful? Was it that there was a lot of complaints somewhere else that I haven't seen, probably the forums, that said that Climbing Plus needs to go back to being effectively what it was in like N2, maybe N3, can't remember it from N3. I really don't know, but I'm also really keen to hear your thoughts. Some of you did put your comments on my previous video around Climbing Plus, and that's how this issue surfaced. And if you ever want to follow a couple of people who are really knowledgeable in this space, have a look at the comments, see a few of them, you'll be able to see them, they know who they are, and you'll be able to very quickly see who these knowledgeable people are. Definitely watch out for them in the comment section of any of my videos, because they've always got some really good insights, and they always raise things that I probably miss on a first glance. So definitely keep an eye out for their comments, because they are a huge wealth of knowledge. And I want to say thank you to all of you for raising that as the issue, so that I could do this clarification video on how Climbing Plus is actually much worse than I initially thought. Jump in the comments with your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you think it's actually in a really good place right now? And I'll be back soon with another video.